You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our Sex Podcast Collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Horny Housewife Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. Guess what? Be our guest. Be our guest. The Horny Housewife's got a guest. So today we've got Stephanie Ganowski. She's been here before. You know about her. And she has a large male following because she helps men. You're like, she's an OnlyFans creator. No, she helps men get it together in the bedroom. She has changed lives. The stories that she has about certain client experiences, it just is a testament to how it truly is so individualized. The factors, someone's lifestyle, relationship, so many factors, so many variables. And PE, DE, delayed ejaculation, ED, talking about fantasies, sharing fantasies with your significant other, how to become a couple who talks about sex, what we can do as women to show up for our husbands, to talk about so that they can feel comfortable to talk about sex. Because if you're talking about sex, you're having better sex. I get there's a point where you can just beat it to death. You're like, Jordan, I feel like you might be someone who beats something to death. Correct. But I'm helping the people resurrect, okay? The couples that never thought they could talk about it. Or maybe you're talking about it, but you're going about it the wrong way. Today's guest is good. She's good. That's why she's coming back. She wouldn't be coming back if she sucked. Y'all loved that episode, so you're going to love this episode. If you haven't heard, it's 147, I believe. I'll put our previous episode that we did in the episode description if you want to listen to that one. And if you love this podcast, please leave me 5 stars on Apple Podcast, leave a rating, write a review, make sure you're subscribed and following the show, and you can watch on Spotify and or YouTube. And if you don't, you should still subscribe and still click the bell because you are kind. We are kind. You are kind. Scratchy, 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 scratchy. Okay, so we're not going to dwell on listener questions as we chit-chatted for an hour. So I'm sure it cut a little bit. We shaved, we slimmed up our little gab. But we don't got time to kiki on your problems today. So if you were wanting that and you didn't listen to last week, Bago listener questions. Next week, Bago listener questions. Here we go. I've got 2 questions. I got a follow-up. I love getting a follow-up because this is one we wanted a follow-up from. Follow-up time. Hey, I wanted to come back and say thank you for giving me hope in your last episode. The virgin couple isn't virgin anymore. Look at us making shit happen. And just to respond to your questions, he doesn't watch porn. He watched porn when he was younger in middle school. But as I mentioned, he went through some sexual abuse and trauma, which was the initial issue. We overcame the issue with Viagra and therapy. He also can have an erection easily when we do anything, even just make out, and he is comfortable with getting head. So that's why I didn't think ED was necessarily the problem. He's okay with giving head because you're down here. There's less, I know it's not uncomfortable for you, maybe uncomfortable intimacy for him. And I don't know whatever the traumatic experience was, which I'm not asking you to share that, but if you know what that was, that's gold information as far as understanding what PTSD could come from that, the scenario and knowing what triggers that distress in him, and I understand that you said through Viagra and therapy, but it can be something that you continue to work on, which I'm sure you know. That isn't just okay, we did this, it's better. Or you got it up. So It's better. You go on to say this, so I should keep reading it and stop talking. We practice consistent mindfulness and mentality resets, supportive conversations, and taking the pressure off completely. Way to go, girlfriend of the year. It happened in the most unexpected, random way, and you were right. All he needed was one time to get over the stress and pressure, get out of his head, and get one win in before he realizes it's all mental. So true. I was just talking about that with my husband and the children, which that's side random note. But like in sports, wrestling, when they can see a kid get beat by another kid that they can beat, and they're like, oh, they beat him, so I can definitely beat them. And then they go and beat them. But there are times they see like, oh, I can't beat the kid that just lost to him, so I know I'm going to lose. And they lose. They mentally destroy themselves when that's not the truth. You would be so baffled to really understand what a grip your mindset has on you and how much it affects you. Truly. It's mind-blowing. And there's a quote from someone that I like her book. She says, everyone would do it if they could. They just don't have ears to hear. So if you're just like, that's woo-woo shit, keep doing that. It'll never, yeah, you're right. You don't have ears to hear. Okay. The only issue is now we've had sex a lot, but there's been 2 to 3 times where he was about to have sex with me, and then he said, let's wait till later, because he felt numb in his hands and felt his erection going away. There's something there. There's something there that I feel like, it's so hard, right? It's so hard to let go. But okay, I'll just let go so we can figure this out. But it's directly affecting you, so easier said than done. But that I'm confused. I'm not sure if it's just part of the mental issue he had earlier that's still translating into our sex life and trying to make him think he may not be able to perform again. I'm like, is he fighting against his okay. And when he's getting head, is it really easy for him as well because he can go to his mind? You know what I'm saying? It could be so many things. It could be this surmounting immense amount of pressure, but is the pressure take him out because it doesn't come natural for him? Like at some point, I think this primal part comes over you. I understand how anxiety and OCD, that's her next line. He does have OCD and anxiety, for context. That can be crippling. And we're both in our early 20s and very committed to each other. I'm there to support him, but now the issue is I'm not even sure I want to initiate sex in case that means he might not be ready or get in his head about his performance again. I know you're going to hate me for saying this. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me, please. Are we sure he's not bisexual or gay? Are we sure? And I know, fuck me, Jordan, right? Fuck you, Jordan. Anxiety is real. The mental pressure is real, and you're just calling everybody gay. But, he could be, and, he could be feeling a lot of pressure and not excited and rather head, because then he can think about Ken instead of Barbie. And maybe when he gets to the boobs, he's just like, that looks too much like Barbie. I don't know. Which way did he come in? Was it doggy style? Okay. I'm being silly. I'm going to stop being silly. He says he really wants to please me, and he's also still learning how to last longer, shocker. And I'm trying to be the least judgmental. I'm being so judgmental and positive. I'm being so negative as I can, because I'm very proud and happy we can finally have a normal sex life, but it still doesn't feel normal because it's not normal. I'd love more of your input now that we got past having sex, and see if you have any more tips to keep him confident and not kill our sex life. Y'all are the couple that needs to stop talking about sex, because you're talking about it so fucking much that it's mind fucking him. So quit quizzing, how was that? Do you want to do this? Are you sure? What are you thinking? Don't do that. I know you want to do that. I know that's what comes natural, and I know it comes from a good place. I'm just like you. I would literally be like, what can I do for you? And they're like, just shut up. So be as cool and chill and as a cucumber, okay? Cucumber. And just lay there like a cucumber. I'm just kidding. You could start by giving him head. And then, like, when it's fully erect and he's, like, in his own space, you could then sit on it. If he falls flat when you stand up to sit on it, I'm concerned. I'm a little concerned. And there could even be like, I know you said you're really committed, but you're so young. And it's like, I just so badly think that this is what your big sister would tell you. I'm your big sister bitch who you're going to want to say, you're such a bitch, and cry and run away from me and be like, I did not want you to do that. You don't understand me. You don't get it. I love him. And you're just a fun sucker. I understand, sissy. I love you. Go experience something else. And if you find your way back to each other, you will have some breathing time. Let his figure out his dick over there, and you can go have a different problem besides wondering if you're ever going to have hot sex with this man that I'm not even convinced is straight. And that could be fucked up of me, but this is my podcast. So that's what I'm going to end it with. What do you think, guys? I already know what all my girls are going to say. And I'm saying that out of love for you. And I know you were writing in to follow up and to tell me things were getting better, and I'm so happy for you. But there are inexperienced men that are letting pressure get to the best of them. And I understand if you love him, you're so close to the situation that it can be so easy to believe what they're saying. And they might not even know. I feel like his inexperience, he doesn't even know. He doesn't have the answers to the questions. And the questions that you're asking me, no one knows the answer to. And I think there could be a little bit of maybe denial. And I'm not saying because he's gay, maybe, but there could be just some denial of what he's letting impact him, like the numb in his hands and erection going away. I mean, I guess that is blood flow going somewhere else. That's why we need the men listening. And don't be a dick. Don't be a bitch like I was. Any men that could relate or the pressure, and you're listening to me and being like, tisk, Jordan, shame on you. That is not what it is. Write into me. I want you to tell me so I can pass on some valuable information. Maybe a man who's experienced something like this when he was younger or in any situation, please let me know. And if you all think he's gay, you can tell me that as well. We could take a poll and see what all of our gaydars are saying. Mine's being a little beep, 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 beep. A little bit. But I've been wrong, but I've also been right. I have an excellent gaydar you can ask people. It is overactive. It is overactive because you think there's so many bi guys that are denying their bi, that don't tap into their bi, that rebuke their bi. But I know, that kind of thing. So I think I'm pretty good, but maybe I'm just tooting my own horn. Okay, next question. I will not complete this episode without doing my What's Rocking My World and What's Drying Up. What's Rocking My World is that my progesterone has truly impacted my day-to-day anxiety in a positive way that I wasn't really expecting. I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking I jumped the gun. Can you speak, Jordan? And I was like, you know what? Fountain of youth, hormones. But I have noticed a calmness, and I could point my finger in a few directions that I think it's coming from. And I think all those factors matter. But what's rocking my world is seeing the little sprouts from the seeds I've planted and the stones I've turned. Is that the right thing? And the paths I've pursued. She can't talk. And the questions I've asked, uncomfortable ones, hard ones, where I had to figure things out and make phone calls and it not work out, and then make another phone call and then go to an appointment and then see that through and then find a new doctor. And then I've shown up for myself, and I feel like I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. So that's rocking my world. What's drying me up? I spoke about the crime of the century being how women's hormones and that whole story, and I agree with that. But you know what a man's crime of the century is? Is that we don't talk about what men struggle with, which me and Stephanie talk about in this episode. It's so normalized that men love sex and they should operate in this way. And this is what makes a man a real man. And don't cry, be tough. Don't show your weaknesses. Don't be human. Be like toxic masculinity, okay? And while there's so many traits of a masculine man that I love and appreciate and value, toxic masculinity of men don't cry, and this is how you should be 24/7 is inhumane, okay? It's not normal. We wouldn't want to be treated that way. We don't want to be treated that way. And so it's worth mentioning PE, DE, ED. These things are really common. PE specifically, if you want me to give you a fire tip, got your back, Jordy's got your back. 1 in 3 men deal with PE. Nobody's talking about it. Not nobody. Lots of people are, including Popstar, I'm going to tell you about. There's something you can do. There are things you can do, and you got to be not afraid to look for the answers, because you are not alone, not even close to being alone. There's so many men suffering and silently suffering. And then they feel embarrassed, or they feel confused, or they feel not good enough, less than, inadequate. Lies. You are not alone. You are human with a body just like us. And we're all aging. We're all getting one day older each day, and things crop up and things can feel humbling, but there's something you can do about it. So guys, if you are trying to do something for the man downstairs, as far as PE goes, Delay Spray by Popstar. Strongest lidocaine available on the market. You spray it on before you get busy. Let it dry down so it stays localized. It stays where it's supposed to do the work. Doesn't transfer to your partner. Doesn't take away from the fun and how good it feels. Just helps you last longer. That's what you want. Close that orgasm gap. popstarlabs.com/hornyhousewife. My code will save you 20% on your order. So use code hornyhousewife. Just go to that link in the episode notes. They also have... Here, I got it like right by me, literally. The volume taste enhancer. So sweeter, okay, more tasty, enticing semen. Also bigger loads, which means better orgasm and support overall semen health. So go to popstarlabs.com/hornyhousewife and use horny housewife to get 20% off of your purchase. Can you do a poll, another poll, to see how many listeners and their partners climax at the same time, specifically P and V? I feel like it's a myth that it happens often, okay? I'm here to bust that myth because, A, I know from personal experience it happens, and I know from personal experience that I can suppress or speed up my orgasm. When you can take accountability of that orgasm, your sex life changes. To have that experience. Maybe not like exactly the same time, but like pretty overlapping from like one to the next in some way, okay? They touch. They overlap at some point. And another part of that is when you're so super present and you are a person who is deeply aroused by seeing your significant other aroused and experiencing pleasure. And I think a lot of us are aroused by our significant others experiencing pleasure. So if you're really connected, present, and in the moment, it can just be like this trickle effect. she sees him getting off, that's getting her off, or vice versa, he's getting off to seeing her get off, So it does happen probably more often than you think. And I got a little curious, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I found a Reddit forum, and you know how I feel about Reddit. I'm buying stock in Reddit. How often do you simultaneously orgasm with your partner? And she wrote, I'm a 40-something-year-old woman with a variety of relationships under my belt. And all my prior relationships after the first few weeks, and sometimes from the beginning, my partner and I would almost always orgasm at the same time. Often I had already had one or more. She has no reason to lie to us. However, in my current relationship of over a year, we have never climaxed together. Not once. See, I believe her. I am sexually satisfied, often having more than one orgasm, like she said, a bragger. But I feel like I would be more satisfied if we could orgasm together because it's just better. And that's just her opinion. It is hot. It is like lovemaking vibes. It's movie vibes. He does take longer to get there, so he's maybe experiencing some DE, and sometimes can't orgasm at all. Okay, he is. I have tried just suppressing mine, proof that, the women know how, and men, to time it with his, but there's a chance he might never orgasm. Other times I think he's getting close, and then I can't stop mine from happening. I wanted to ask in this sub because I want to hear honestly from other women, as men might have an entirely different and maybe not accurate answer. I like her. Maybe 15%, someone said. More often we go until I hit plateau and then he finishes. It's never a goal to finish together for me, though. So if you have that goal, I think you could definitely make that happen. The percentage of couples that naturally, organically climax just on their own, like just lacking intention, but just having sex and climaxing, and it happens to be at the same time. Yeah, I'm sure very rare. Like maybe 3 times in the last 12 years. We call it soap opera sex. Never happened for me. Only happened to me once. Okay, well, I wish I could do like reply all. We have amazing orgasms separately most of the time, but once every few months we'll orgasm together. So intense, never have expectations for it. Wow, hot. Okay, well, yes, besides mutual masturbation, it's not P and V, but P and V climaxing together. Ooh, who's up for the challenge? Who wants some THH homework, baby? Me. I dare you. So, who shaved their puss and who's growing it out? Let me know. Let's make an Excel spreadsheet and tack your pussy. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. It's almost Valentine's Day. Better not fuck that up, guys. If you haven't made reservations for dinner, do you want to know what, though? Don't feel bad. Like, Derek and I never go out on a date on actual Valentine's Day. We have before, and it sometimes makes me want to slip my wrist because you're just like literally sitting around to every single person on a date. You see every variety of couple, the fresh, the new, the hot and heavy, the I hate each other, the obligatory, the they haven't fucked in 10 years. You see them all. Great for people watching. Expensive, and the energy that's needed to make it good, to impress me and to have the dinner I want. Now it's crowded. Now it's hard to get into my favorite restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather go the day before or the day after, the week before, the week after. So that's just personal preference, but there needs to be an honoring of the holiday, and it should never be initiated by the woman. Just my take. Now, do I find it sad? And I have to even see myself that I'm like, the longer I've been married, the more I've been like, another holiday for me. Don't forget about your husbands, okay? Like, I know it's about us. We deserve it. But so do they. And you have it so much easier. Like, our gifts can be sexual. Our gifts could be 12 nudes sent in a row. It could be, and you could go buy yourself a new outfit and lingerie to wear under, and he won't even acknowledge or get upset about the new outfit or say he'll just sneak peek of what's under. You have it much easier. And if you're the girl that you only give him a blowjob on Valentine's Day, poor guy, but wow, now you have a lot of pressure to deliver because it's like probably a day he really looks forward to. I'm actually getting my entire face lasered off on the 13th, so probably going to have to make some content ahead of time or wrap myself in a scarf with big glasses because it's really going to be burned off. Really going to be burned off. I have so many things happening this year. You'll just see them as they come because I'm not going to offload my Apple Calendar to you, even though I want to so bad. But a lot's happening, and I have secret projects in the works that I would give my left titty to tell you about, but I can't. But you'll know with like 2 months, you'll know. Softly, gently, I'll let you know. I hope it'll be for everybody. Maybe not, but I'm so excited. So mommy is working behind the scenes. If you are into audio erotica, my hormone journey, or you want bonus content from this podcast, the Patreon is where it's at. Go to the patreon.com, not the patreon.com/horny housewife podcast. I put the link in the episode notes, or just go to my website. That makes everything easier. thehornyhousewifepodcast.com, and you'll find it all there. Let's get in to this interview. Men's coach. She's got a podcast. Her social media is the best. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Ganowski. Did you know, because my husband didn't know, did you know that you're supposed to have 3 to 5 erections in the middle of the night that last at least 30 minutes with a firmness of 6+ on a 1 to 10 scale? If you didn't know that, guess what? I'm telling you, I'm enlightening you, and it's far more interesting than you may think. Maybe your ears are perked up, but it gets better. It gets better. So some men are struggling with ED and I have no idea why, okay? Because it could be so many things. And if you're not knowing what's going on with the man downstairs and what's going on during night, big indicator, that is the early warning signs, indicators, symptoms of an underlying health problem like heart disease, low testosterone, medication side effects, relationship issues. If you're getting hard during the night as you're supposed to, but then when it comes time with your partner, womp, 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 then we can rule out some things and be like, okay, this is like you're mentally mind fucking yourself or a relationship problem, whatever it may be, anxiety. But if it's not performing how it should while you're sleeping, which is letting you know how your cardiovascular health is and so many other things, then that's no good. Okay. And if you want to have a lifetime of lovemaking, or you're 45 and older and you're like, I just thought I had low testosterone and I was just going to do X, Y, or Z, a smart man is going to get to the root of the problem. So I'm so excited to tell you about Tech Ring by Firm Tech. It's the first FDA-registered, research-backed wearable ring that tracks erections during sleep and sex. It measures both firmness and duration, so men and their physicians receive objective, personal, and actionable data to aid in diagnosis and identify the correct course of treatment, all while intensifying their sexual performance. It's comfortable, reusable, and comes with an easy-to-use app designed to give you and your doctor accurate data that other things just could not provide. So the bottom line is Tech Ring empowers you to understand your sexual health, spot early warning signs before they become harder to treat, and find the right long-term solutions for your ED. Use code HOUSEWIFE for 15% off at myfirmtech.com/housewife. That's code HOUSEWIFE at myfirmtech.com/housewife, or click the link in the episode notes below. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome back to the Horny Housewife podcast. It's been like 100 episodes since you last came on.
I know. It's been like, what, 2 years?
It has been. So for the people that maybe haven't listened to that episode, it was like 147, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Oops, I'll link it in the description. But reintroduce yourself to my audience for those who might not know you.
Yeah, I am Stephanie. I'm a sexologist and sex coach for heterosexual men, and I help guys with their performance issues in bed as well as their sex communication issues with their female partners.
Amazing. Lovely. Okay, so I have majority of my audience is men. So like 78% of my audience is men. So
Nice.
they're listening. What is the number one, or if you had to like do top three, I don't care what either way, of what men come to you about?
I would say
I know
lack of
sex, but
libido.
like specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically, like just differences in libido between him and his wife or girlfriend. There's a frustration behind that. They don't know how to communicate around it to get to a point where they can both meet in the middle and have sex that feels good for both of them. And then also guys who struggle with erectile dysfunction and delayed ejaculation. So those are
What
the
is the age? Like, are you mostly dealing with a certain age group? Have you found that like erectile dysfunction is happening to men younger and younger and younger, or is that not something you're seeing firsthand?
I mean, I've been seeing that over the last 6 years. Yeah, that there's just like, for me, it's half and half because I think I market to men who are like 35 to 50. But I have plenty of like intro calls with guys who are early 20s and they're really struggling with ED, as well as older
Really?
guys who struggle. Yeah.
What do you think? I know there's a lot of opinions and factors. I mean, truly there's so many factors it could be in so many different situations and circumstances, but if you were to like a stereotype the right word, or like if there was a common reason, is it porn? Is it the way they're simulating sex on their own?
Porn is definitely a big factor. It's also nervousness, like performance anxiety that gets in the way. And I think that has a lot to do with porn because guys are comparing themselves and then they're like, wait, I don't look like that. I don't have sex like that. Like, I can't make her come like
Yeah.
that. And then it's like this constant comparison game. And then they sometimes try Viagra at a really early age and then they think that's
Mm,
normal. So I'd
mm.
say during that age, especially when they're young and like just getting into their they're just finding their confidence sexually, it could be really confusing to have all this misleading information around you as to what is real and what's not. And,
Mhm.
guys get in
I
their
always
head.
wondered if it was like a visual thing too, as far as like if the majority of their experience, if they're young, is porn, and that's where they've seen them like if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm doing like little bunny air quotes, what sex looks like, which we know that is not the ideal teacher, right? If that's what they're seeing and they're watching all kinds of porn, I don't know what they're watching, but then they go and they have sex IRL and it looks nothing like the porn because that's how it goes, and they're not able to get aroused because they're used to maybe watching a gangbang or something very visually stimulating, and so it's not the same. And so could that be
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
thing?
that's a huge thing. They get that image in their head and then, yeah, they need a higher and higher dopamine fix as they rely on porn more and more. And then they're
Mhm.
not talking to their partners. They're not talking to the girls they're with and they're not getting accurate information as to what's really getting her off or what really she is looking for. They're just trying to be this guy they think they should be without communicating or without, trying things that actually work for his own body. And then yeah, it just turns into more and more anxiety. And that for most guys, yeah, the anxiety
Okay.
factor is what kind of gets their nervous system all riled up and then they can't function how they want to. So,
It's like a stress cycle, right? Because
yeah.
I heard a story of someone who went to like sex therapy, and he found out he had low testosterone. So he's like, okay, I have low testosterone, and that's going to be my fix. I'm going to get on testosterone. I'm going to be horny again, and everything is going to be okay. And he had this expectation, I think, and then it didn't pan out how, an immediate light switch. There's my dog in the background.
I'm like, what is
And
happening
so
in your alleyway?
I think in my back alley, I got a leaf doggy.
Jordan
He
is
was
recording this in her back alley.
he is really cute though. Take a look see at that.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
I
so
know.
cute. Wow,
He's
I thought he was
really
like a big
annoying.
dog. He's like a puppy.
He's
He's a
almost 3,
cute.
but he's really cute.
Oh.
Okay, so He thought I'm supposed to work. I'm magically supposed to be horny again. But really, this man was suffering from like a ton of career stress at home, feeling like his wife is unhappy, and then it's not happening. And so I'm like, I bet you that stress, like, what does stress do to a man's sex drive? Does it vary depending on the man, or across the board, do we see it kill it?
Yeah, I mean, it varies from guy to guy, but most guys shut down when they're stressed. Their body gets really, tense, just like all of our bodies when cortisol spikes. We are more on edge. We're more sensitive to things, but not in a good way. It's kind of like he'll take things more personally. Like if she says no to sex, he'll take that as more of a personal rejection. He might just avoid sex altogether. If there's work stress, it might be like sex is another problem right now. I don't even want to go there. So he avoids, right? He might avoid conversations around improving the sex life because it just feels like too much and he's not sure what the next step is. So that uncertainty and that disconnect from the partner and the overwhelm with work that's affecting his nervous system, it's just all things that create this recipe for ED. And it doesn't have to be there, like, is the good news. Like a lot of guys feel like, oh, well, that's just my life. I work a lot. And, there's plenty of guys, like guys need to know there's plenty of guys who have tremendous work ethic. They work a lot, but they still are very open with their partners. They're communicative. They find ways to get out of the house, at least for, an hour a day and work out, move their bodies, release that cortisol so it's not trapped within them. And be able to improve their sex life at the same time while they're going through some stressful stuff unrelated. So
What does that conversation look like to men listening who are like, maybe that's foreign or that's uncomfortable? Like, how do you advise men, timing, delivery wise, of starting to talk about sex?
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what they want to talk about first, like what they're actually, what they want, right? They got to start with like, what's the point of the conversation? Like, what do I want to get from this? And I think that's a really important thing for guys to keep in mind, other than just starting it off with, we need to talk about our sex life. Because even that, starting a conversation off like that and then not knowing what answers you're actually looking for, like where you want to go, is just so overwhelming, like for the guy and for her, So
That makes sense.
so yeah, you want to start it being like, I always tell guys the best way to start a difficult sex conversation is to first start with love and connection. And that can sound something like, hey babe, like, I love you. I want our relationship to be great. I know I've been dealing with a lot of stress, but I really wanted to talk about our sex life because it's important to me. Do you have time later? Right? Like that may not be like the most enthusiastic. He might be stressed the fuck out while he's saying that, but still coming from this place of like, you matter, this matters to me. Hey, let's address it together and figure it out.
That, like, it's disarming in a way, or like they care about me, they want to learn, like this matters to them, and it's beyond. Some women will say like, oh, okay, he wants to talk about sex, or he's trying to butter me up because all he thinks about is sex, like, oh, all he wants to do is get it in. So I oh, I know you mostly work with men, but the women that are listening, I feel like if you shut them down every time they come, they're less likely to come around and want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes for both of us. Like if whenever we try to talk about something specific and our partner like shuts us down in a way that makes it tense or scary to talk to them about it, we're going to talk less and less. And then we're going to build resentment towards our partner. Like both men and women both do that. So it's like, we don't want resentment. Like I will straight up say to my boyfriend when I'm nervous about a conversation or like when I'm upset about something, I'll tell him like, babe, I'm really afraid to start resenting you about this. So like, that's why we need to talk about it again, because I'm feeling resentment and like it hasn't cleared. And I'll just say that and I'll be like, I don't want this for us. Like, can we talk about it? So I don't
need
have
to
this?
talk about this. Yeah, because it almost feels like I'll feel resentful when I'm almost like betraying myself in a way,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
boundary that I'm not holding or enforcing. So like that resentment is bubbling up because I feel dismissed by my partner, but I also feel like I'm not advocating for myself.
100%. Like Jordan, you just hit the nail on the head. Like that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I didn't just come up with that. My therapist, said that to me. So we'll thank Michaela. Okay, what about as far as conversation goes between partners? What about fantasies? That's a common listener question I get written in. How can I get my wife to blank? And I'm like, you can't get your wife to blank, but the conversation of maybe sharing a kink that they find embarrassing or they just have no idea how to bring this to the table. What's your advice?
I think most guys try to bring in a kink when they're not even having sex, like in a way that's
I want to do this. Yeah.
yeah, like they're like, when can I fuck you in the ass? And like,
Yeah.
we don't even kiss together right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like 0 to 100. You're like jumping when it's like, hey, let's go in like a linear, like, not that things have to be linear, but like, let's go step by step so that there's comfort zones each step of the way and you're ready for anal, like.
For sure.
So first thing, I want to make a point based on something I said previously first, because it ties into this answer. I think women need to understand a bit more that, or just be more understanding and compassionate that men have been taught to, by society, right? And we see it all the time. Like men are taught to receive connection through sex, and that's the most masculine way of connecting. So it's like there's so many men starving for connection, really believing and like only feeling comfortable with sex being that one form. So they're not realizing that intimacy can be so many different other things besides sex. So when a guy feels deprived of sex, he gets very resentful because he's like, I'm not feeling connected. And to not feel connected to someone is a very sad life to live. Like when you're not feeling connected, even to your buddies, like we don't even have platonic touch in the US, like among men. Like it's not as normal as it is in other parts of the world. Yeah. So it's like they're being deprived based on what they're seeing and being taught, like watching porn from the age of 10, or like, and that's what they learn. Like, if you want to feel connected, this is what you got to do as a man. So then when they're rejected for that, it hurts. Like it feels fucking heavy. And I'm not saying that women have to have sex whenever a guy wants, because that's his one form. He needs to learn that there are other ways of connection. But I think that, if we can help each other out in that way, and I have this concept like reject and connect, which means if you're rejected sexually or your partner rejects you, find a way to connect somehow else, like in another way that's not sex, maybe in a few hours or later that night, to show that a sexual rejection does not mean I don't want you or I don't want to connect to you. It means I don't want to connect with you in that way right now. And that can look like a woman saying, hey, baby, I love you. I don't feel like I'm not in the mood at all for sex, but you want to finish our show together on the couch later? Like, cool.
Yeah.
She's like, not rejecting him now. And he can say this too. He could be like, all right, I get it. Like it's, it's not a good time. Do you want to go on a walk with me after dinner? Hold hands, catch up. Like when that is more in the picture and that's more the norm, that's where sex actually builds. Like that's when more sex actually happens, because there's more consistent intimacy.
I was going to say that. And then I was like, I don't want to make every man think, okay, well, after the reject, I'll connect and then I'll work her, weasel her away, like weasel her down. But truthfully, just being transparent, I will say, like, in my personal experience, in those moments, like say I'm like, I know I'm so tired, and I know I was talking a big game earlier when I was horny this afternoon, and now I'm completely wiped and I don't even want to, like, oh God, I placed expectations. But sometimes just practicing mindfulness or like getting in the moment. I'm thinking so far ahead or getting stressed out about, like, I don't even have the energy to do this. But when I get back in my body or just present and I let us be or connect, gosh, the chances skyrocket just with removing the pressure, Anxiety and sex don't go very well together, for surezies.
100%. And that's what, I wish guys, I want guys to understand that more, that like when her guard is down and she feels like she can connect with you without you trying to make a move every time, that's when she's more curious about you sexually. Cause it's like, because she has more room to like let arousal breathe by itself. just through your connection
Right.
instead of you like always asking her for sex. And this is when women get resentful because at a point it can feel like you just want to use me for sex. It's not about connecting with me. It's about you getting it in, and like,
And then it becomes predictable, and like
yeah,
if the predictable is like womp womp womp, or the predictable is like every time I lay down he enters me, it's boring both ways.
yeah,
There's some people that have sex. In the relationship I was before I was married, we had sex every single day, and it was not exciting. It was not full of passion. It was almost like this man needs to get off every day, and I am the hole in which
or
he's
the
using.
tool. Yeah.
And I didn't feel connected. I didn't feel close. So it really doesn't matter. You can be like, oh, they're doing it so often. They must be just,
Oh yeah.
oh, it's like it really doesn't mean anything if there's no connection.
100%. And I had a client who I had a few female clients. And she was in a very similar, situation. And she was very upset by it. And like, yeah, like people look at people having sex every day and they're like, oh man, they live the life. But it's like, no, not when there's no connection. Like I've experienced it too. Like I would still orgasm every single time. And they're like, oh, well, you must have loved it. I'm like, no, you can orgasm and still like look back and be like, the sex sucks. Like it's just,
Right.
My body's more orgasmic. That doesn't mean like there was passion and there was not even you don't even need passion, but like if there's no connection, the sex is not something you look forward to. It's not something you look back on and be like, oh, that was so hot. It's not something you enjoy. It's just something that happened and you get over it.
Like going through the motion, or like getting off with your partner, using them like a sex toy almost.
Yeah.
Versus coming together and like energetically getting it on,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think couples have to be okay with having conversations about this. And like, if a guy asks like guys, if you have a conversation with her because you want to know why sex isn't what it used to be or why she's not interested as much, like literally go in with a very genuine curiosity approach and be like, hey babe, like I just want you to be honest. Like I want us to come from love. Like both of us just like come from love here. Let's remember we're on the same team, but I would love your honesty and like you're safe telling me whatever. I'm not going to get upset. Let's just do this from a place of love. And I want you to tell me like why you're not interested in having sex like you used to be. And if she says something like, I feel like just a sex doll to you, don't get defensive. Like most guys are going to get defensive and be like, you're not a sex doll. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And even if you don't even have to raise your voice, you could still be like, babe, you're not a sex doll. I don't think that. Don't go there. Like lean into why she's saying that. Like get curious. Like that's interesting because you're not a sex doll to me, but please like let me know why you're thinking that. Or like what about me having sex with you makes you feel that way? What about me, the way I'm initiating makes you feel like a sex doll so I can understand and I can not make you feel that way. Like that's how sex problems are solved, right? It's not by defending ourselves and turning it into this 1v1. It's like, hey, help me understand that because I don't want you to feel that way, but I want to know where you're coming from.
And I think there's so many men, or I don't know, I only know my experience, that they, suit up to defend themselves to try to prove like, but that's not true because like, oh, you've got it all wrong. And it's like, I understand them not wanting us to feel that way. So they're going to defend their name, their honor, whatever. But it's very, it feels dismissive, any men listening. It feels like our opinion is being discarded, our feelings, our perspective, our experience. And it's like there can be two truths, and it's really your experience and my experience. So if you want something to get better, you better freaking listen to her experience,
Yeah. Take her experience seriously because it's real to her, right? There's no reality except for the meaning we each give to what's happening to us. So it's really like our point of view is what matters. And if she feels that way, there's a reason why. So like understand her why and know that none of you are right or wrong. You just both have your side of the story. So like if you can come out of it by working together to figure out what both of your point of views are and like how you can move forward to improve each other's point of views, then you're working as a team. Like that's you guys working as a team to get to a place that's going to improve. If you come out of a argument or conflict feeling like you've won, that means you automatically lost because there should be no winner but you and her together. Like,
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna tell my husband that. Hey, you feel like you won? There's no winner. Okay, I want to talk about
if we didn't both
both.
win, we didn't win. Nobody won.
We did not win. I know you feel like a winner right now. I know you do. I want to talk about PE and delayed ejaculation. I know these are like two things on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Delayed ejaculation, meaning like you're going and going and going and going. And then PE, which I know a lot of men, and there's so many, things on the market. I don't want to diss any or like specifically point to one being the all hail. I've got different sponsors that have different approaches, so I don't want to like shit on one. But what is something, because not just, I know the men are embarrassed, but it's also very unsatisfactory for women when you're dealing with PE, and then it can feel like the woman doesn't want to say anything to add to the husband's embarrassment, but she's, the orgasm gap is real and we need some time. So what's your approach when PE seems to be the issue?
Yeah, well, I think that it's different for every guy. Like all of my PE the guys who come to me struggling with PE, it's almost different in every, like the relationship they're in, where they think it came from, and then what actually helps them versus what helps another guy, which is fascinating to me.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, like I've had a PE client who the solution that has worked for him to the point where now he lasts like 10 minutes every time, which he's never been able to do his whole life, is shallow penetration. Like he got into a habit of just putting the tip in and like as it more of like a tease type motion. And then he pulls it out and he plays around with her and he gets her off. And then he does it again. And doing this over the span of like so many months, he's now able to go fully in and last as long as he wants, which is crazy. Like I've never heard that and that hasn't been the solution for any of my other PE clients, just him. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa, that's fucking cool. Cause I told him like, try this. I was like, I don't know, let's like give this a try. Like I read something about it. So he was
you got to experiment, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what is so frustrating is it takes experimentation. And that's why, someone like me who's worked with a ton of different guys, like I have a better idea of what's going to work for the guy based on his situation instead of throwing him like 20 different solutions or potential solutions.
So it's really catered. My dog.
Oh, I can't even hear your dog.
Okay, well, I was like, he keeps knocking the camera and this light. I hate these windows. It really depends on a bunch of factors. It's really tailored to your specific client. But because PE, ED, I feel like, I know there's lots of factors, but I feel like we could like make a diagram. But with PE, it's pretty broad. Am I wrong? Like, is it the way they're masturbating? Is it how they're simulating sex? Or do you find that more with delayed ejaculation, it's how they're simulating sex? Is it because they don't masturbate at all? Like, there are some men that I was with a man who was like anti-masturbation, and he really struggled with PE because he was like, no, I'm not going to masturbate. It'll ruin our sex life. And that's like, okay, like I've never been one to comment about someone's solo time. So that was just him. But I'm like, I think that's maybe why you're coming so quickly.
That's always a common denominator. When guys come to me struggling with PE, I'll ask them how often they masturbate. And they almost every single time they're like, oh, I just stopped because like, yeah, I just don't do it. What? Or like, I hardly my wife too. And I'm like, I know this is like very generalized, but there is part of that. If you don't use it, you lose it type of,
it's a muscle.
Yeah. It is a muscle, but it's also like it's an awareness. It's a body mind connection, right? Like when you lose that experience of having sex, like the body mind connection, it's no longer that strong. So you don't have as much awareness over your arousal state. And then, yeah, you don't have much control when the time comes. But most guys, because almost every time when I have guys masturbate more, they are already lasting longer. Like within like 2 weeks, they're lasting longer.
Of course.
Just by getting back in the habit and like realizing, oh, when I touch myself with this kind of pressure instead, or this angle instead, yeah, like I could last longer, which is so interesting. Cause like some guys, what I've learned as I've like experimented trying things, like telling my clients to try things, is even the angles can make a big difference. Like I have some guys who like last longer if she's in a position like reverse cowgirl where she's angling him more down than straight up.
Ooh, that's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So it's like,
But you got to be really aware,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why like there's certain positions that work really well for certain guys with PE. It's just, you got to find it. Like you got to masturbate, understand what your body enjoys in terms of physical sensation, what gets you to a point where you can kind of cruise versus what spikes, your arousal so much that you're at the point of no return already. So it's like when you can play around, and I say like, I'm such a firm believer in masturbation practices for the point of learning about yourself, learning what comes to mind in terms of fantasies, what spikes your arousal physically and mentally. Like when you can learn that on your own without external pressure of like a woman being there, and which increases, anxiety during these struggles. When you're with masturbation, you're just yourself. You can chill, you can get curious, you can come from a place where your heart's not pounding and like you have time and like everything's okay. So like to learn
Because
in
there's
that
a
environment.
difference
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
of like what's going on alone than what's going on partnered. And I was at a hormone appointment for myself because truly, like, that's the crime of the century, in my opinion, is like we talk about men's hormones all the time and how easy it is to access. And it's like, it's literally the fountain of youth for women. And that's a topic for another time.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah.
I was there and she was like talking to me about orgasm and how with masturbation, and I'm sure this goes both ways for men and women, of like when you think about something, I know that's a great way to discover like fantasies and desires and what arouses you, etc. But as far as like, for instance, if we're thinking of something every time we're getting off, like a certain thought or a scenario that we're thinking about that's really arousing to us, that we're getting off to, if that is something we're doing every time, isn't that impacting our sex life negatively, where it's like now like the doctor was like, if you're thinking about this specific thought every time you masturbate, she's like, why don't you try masturbating and just being completely in my body, of like pleasure mapping myself, essentially, of like what feels good, what sensations, and not being in a thought that is like the come button, like certain things can just like
Mhm.
makes you get off.
Yeah.
Do
No, I'm glad you
you
brought this up.
think that it's harmful to focus on certain things over and over? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely think it's harmful when you have like a come button and like you
Okay.
need that one thought. Otherwise you can't
Mm.
get off. Right. Cause that's basically porn, right? It's like you need a certain image in order to get your body relaxed and aroused enough to get there. And what I use fantasy play for is helping guys explore like their ideal sex life. Because right now, what are they doing if they don't have porn? They're thinking about how it could go wrong. They're thinking about like what they don't want to happen. So by helping them get curious about like what could happen, and if you were your most confident, what would that sex look like? Like let's fantasize about that. Like fantasize about you and your partner. Like if you were to ask her something during the moment sexually, how would you come across in like a sexual way when you're aroused? And like, what would that look like? Would you flip her around? Would you pull her towards you? Would you kiss her more gently? Would you stroke her hair? Like, that's the fantasy play I'm talking about, is like helping them
Yeah.
create from a place of sexual security and confidence instead of like jumping to this like gangbang fantasy just to like
Yeah, yeah,
get
yeah,
off.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I think that to use your mind as a tool in that way to help you understand like what could this look like. And I even had a client once who was struggling with ED, and this was his main solution, which blew my mind. I gave him this meditation, or this, I don't even know if I had a actual meditation at the time, but I told him to visualize him having sex and losing the erection during sex. Like if he lost it while he was masturbating, just imagine losing it during sex and then get it back. And he would intentionally lose it on purpose and then get it back. And he would practice that using the thoughts I told him to think about and the way he masturbated. And he said after that, he literally hit me up like a week ago or two. And he was like, Steph, ever since that practice, like my sex life has been fine. Like everything, I haven't experienced ED. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? That was like the
Wow.
coolest, most random thing to me that like was his one solution, like that one thing that just clicked. And like now he doesn't do that anymore, right? Like he doesn't, but whenever he has a situation where he's like, oh, I had some ED there, he goes back to that exercise and like gets it back.
Gosh, our minds are so powerful.
So
Like,
powerful.
wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now on the opposite end, delayed ejaculation. Is there ever a circumstance where you tell to men to reframe? I know masturbation is the key to figuring out so many things going on, but is there ever a time you ask men to refrain from it?
To refrain from masturbating.
Masturbation. Like, do you feel like is that contributing to when they're partnered going forever and they're like, I'm not getting off. I'm having enjoyable, pleasurable sex, but it's like now she's tired. I've been penetrating her for an hour. Is that a circumstance you ever come across?
Like guys
Is that what
who,
delayed ejaculation is?
yeah. So delayed ejaculation. Yeah, I'm just confused with the question because are we talking about
Sorry.
not masturbating or guys with delayed ejaculation?
Like, if guys have delayed ejaculation, is not masturbating something you tell them to do to help with delayed ejaculation?
Okay, got it.
Sorry.
No, I don't. Yeah, because that's typically not the issue. It's not that they're
Oh.
masturbating too often.
Oh.
It's that often, most of the time, I'd say 80% of them are watching way too much porn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's usually a common thing for DE guys is, I don't want to call them DE guys, but guys who struggle with DE. They'll watch a lot of porn. They set up expectations sexually. And then because they keep needing a higher level of dopamine to get off than when they're with their woman in real life, it just doesn't match that same level of arousal. And then they get frustrated. So then the anxiety kicks in and then they don't get there. So that's the most common experience I witness with guys with DE. But I would say it's not about the masturbation that's the problem. It's about the way they're masturbating. So always turning to porn when they masturbate or OnlyFans or like something like that. They also often, this is interesting, a lot of guys with DE also make it so much about her that they forgot like what feels best for them. I've had many DE clients, and this is like a main solution for one of my DE clients when he realized that he was putting his pleasure to the side and he felt all this pride in saying like, I always make her come, like everything's about her. I'm like such a great guy. You know, he was like really taking pride in the fact that like she comes first always. And he was really struggling with DE and it was like really crushing him. And I was like, how is this like, what about you? Like, I get it. Like, I appreciate that you're so like for pleasing her. And that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. But what about you? And I was like, what turns you on? Like when you touch yourself, what's the best form of touch? And what feels best? Like, what does she do that feels best? If you were to ask her, do anything to me right now? I mean, if you were to tell her to do one thing to you right now that would like turn you on most, what would it be? And he couldn't answer any of these questions. And I was like shocked. I was like, what? Like most guys would like easily answer these questions. I didn't say this to him, but like in my mind, I was like, whoa, like he's so disconnected from what he enjoys that like, of course he's not coming. Like he's not in his body. He's not in his pleasure. He's just totally obsessed with her.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that? Is that like, do you find there's a correlation of like growing up with sexual shame? Is that, what is that? Because I'm like, I've met men, my husband grew up LDS, and I think there was like a growing pain of like, he didn't know what he was into, you know, like it was so, you don't do that. You save yourself till marriage. You don't masturbate. That's a sin. Like that was so ingrained that it was shameful and wrong, all these like natural curiosities. And I was like, I wondered this man's specific scenario, where did he not figure out what he liked and desired? Was he just too focused on the women, or
Yeah, you were like, where does that come? Yeah, I don't know.
where does that come from?
Yeah, I know there was shame in his story. There's shame in most stories, right? With guys who deal with this, and shame is the real killer. Like I just had a call yesterday with a few guys, like a group call thing, and the guys were like, "Man, I would love for there to be like community because I built an app for men, and
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
a
really cool.
masturbation app to help guys masturbate more mindfully and just like what we're talking about, like learn how to do it in a way that's going to help with whatever struggles they have. So the guys were like, yeah, I would love to have more like, I would love to have a community feature within the app. And then this other guy was like, yeah, then it wouldn't be so embarrassing if we were able to like at least like see what other guys were experiencing or like, I don't know, like get some sort of like
Like a
feedback.
forum?
Yeah, like some kind of forum just so we can. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but also, and like, it shouldn't be embarrassing. Like, this is like every guy deals with something like this throughout his life at some point. Like every single guy, every single woman too. Like we all deal with sexual insecurities of some kind for a certain amount of time. It is normal, so the fact that it even is embarrassing or taboo is ridiculous. But even like when it comes to community, like every time I've tried to build some sort of community, like guys will not respond. Like even on the call, like guys, it was only like a couple guys talking. Everyone else was silent because it's just the stigma around it is just so
Right? And for men
right.
more. Like
Yeah.
with women, I mean, it's like the stereotype. Oh, then she gets older and then she's tired and then she doesn't want it anymore. And like,
Yeah.
fuck
That's
that.
not
But like
true.
you
That's
hear
not
that
true.
narrative. It's
Yeah.
not true
Women have
at
to
all.
not
But
believe that narrative. Like we do not just lose our sex drive.
we're
Just
getting
doing it in a
hornier and
car.
hornier and hornier, actually.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
30s,
I don't know where
30s is like a horny mess.
truly. And then the age, I keep hearing like, oh, it's just, peaking at 35. And now I'm hearing women are like, I'm 45 and I feel like it's peaking.
Yeah. I hear that
It's
too.
all a lie. But for
I hear
men,
women, no,
that's
one of my biggest role models is 55 and she is like one of the most attractive women I've ever seen. And she's always talking about how amazing her sex life is. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, like I hate these stories where it's like, oh, once you hit like 40 or like,
Kiss it goodbye. It's like,
yeah,
no,
no
absolutely not. I
thanks.
don't subscribe to that narrative. I rebuke that right now. But with men, like
No, I mean,
the men always want it. They can never get enough. They're dogs. They should always they're ready to go. And it's like, and that's a lie as well. And so I don't know what let's blame the boomers. We should blame them for everything, it feels like. But I won't be a hater. But it feels like
you're
that's
so
why
hating
men
right
feel
now.
embarrassed. Like you be tough, you don't cry, you don't share your feelings because girls are emotional, boys aren't. All these like really horrible things that have been instilled in men to make it like that toxic masculinity. It's such a bummer because literally if every man talked about this truthfully and transparent, they would see that it's everybody. It's
Yeah,
all, I mean, what
everybody.
man doesn't come across? And that 60-year-old super horny man, probably there's a reason. I don't know. I feel like at some point it's a muscle and it's your body, and we all deal with aging and a decline in certain areas and figuring it out. So who isn't going through this journey, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we all are. And we all have declines. Like we all have phases in life where we're like not that about it or like we're focused on other
Mhm.
things and like maybe it takes a little courage to get back into it. Like I've experienced that. Like I'm 34. Like I still had my own,
You're 34.
yeah.
That's so annoying because I'm 36 and I swear to God, I thought you were like 28. I
What?
swear to God.
Oh my
That's
God.
so annoying. Like,
Ah, I love that.
you definitely, you look so much younger in my
So I have a lot of
opinion.
sex. I'm just kidding.
It's probably why. That's probably, well, you heard it here. Have more sex and you will look younger. No, but truly, there are women. I remember I saw a housewife reunion and it was a terrible example because I think her husband was like wildly abusive. But she was talking about how like sex is what's kept her youthful and young. And when you don't get it, you're a bitch. And you see like people not having sex, I swear it does something to you when you stop getting off. it hardens you in a way that you don't want to
Yeah, you can't relate to your
experience.
body in the same way. You just don't, right? Because like sex brings out that sexual part of you. It's a part of you, right? Like we all have like different parts of ourselves, and like that's a part of you that's very just like I don't even know how to explain it. Like
Is innate, no inherent, or it's like primal. It's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
primal need.
primal biological like way
That's what our
it's
clits are on
released,
our body
and
for.
yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly,
like literally the only reason it's there is for pleasure, I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Am I
And I think
wrong?
yeah, no, 100% has no
I
other
was like,
function. Has no
yeah.
other function. I think that, yeah, I really think that more women, I want to encourage like any women listening, like masturbate. Like, even if it's not with him, like, even if it's not with your partner right now, like maybe you
Oh,
are dealing
solo,
with some
solo,
like
yeah.
some resentment, like get in your body first, build your sexual confidence back up, and then see what you're interested in. Because that's the only way to really know, like
Mhm.
I think a lot of women just never masturbated and then got in a relationship with a guy and then they get fucked in a way that's just like he flips her over and like this
Mhm.
doggy until he's off and that's it. And there's no connection and there's no real pleasure for her because her clit's not stimulated and
Mhm.
she doesn't come. Like 85% of women
She
are
doesn't know
faking
what she likes
orgasms. She
even.
doesn't know what she
Yeah.
likes. And then there's so
Mhm.
many guys who talk to me today, like what I'm hearing more and more of that's pretty concerning. As I've been in this work, I hear more and more, oh, my wife is asexual. I just learned that she's asexual.
Yes.
I'm like, women, you
No,
are not asexual.
no,
There's not that
no,
many asexual people out there.
no,
Like,
no, yeah.
you're just inexperienced and you don't know what feels good. You haven't experienced real pleasure. And like you can give it to
100%.
yourself. Like this doesn't have to be like rely on a man, but like give it
Uh-huh.
to yourself, learn what you like, and then tell him exactly how you
Literally. One of my best friends, she was like, I felt asexual and maybe she's divorced now. And it was like, I'm super pro family, super like I grew up where my parents, I watched them choose their marriage over and over, but there are some circumstances where it's like, yeah, it's best for people to walk, or it's really
yeah.
abusive, or it's really toxic. Like, there are times that it's appropriate to walk for sure. They got married really young, and it was not meant to be, but she was like, I felt asexual, but it was literally like she hated her husband. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She hated his fucking guts. He never asked about this. They never talked about sex. And she was a sexual person before. She is very familiar with her body, and she's out having the best sex ever now. But I feel like she was becoming a shell of herself. So it's like whether you're inexperienced and you don't know and you are not in tune with your body, or maybe you once were, but you've denied yourself, like you're not advocating for yourself, you're not having the conversations, like you shut down, your body
Yeah.
literally like turns inward and you dry up like the Sahara Desert when you just stay in that routine
And
for
that
such a long
headspace
time.
and
So
routine. Yeah.
I don't believe that many people are asexual for surezies. I
Yeah.
think that masturbation is how you find yourself again, for sure. There's no pressure. No one's watching. No one's seeing. You can start however. Grab
Find a
some
nice toy.
toys.
Yeah, I think a toy is easier because it may feel like for some women who maybe especially are dealing with like body dysmorphia or body like oh, there's so many women who like hate their bodies. It's really sad.
Mhm,
And I hear a
mhm,
lot of guys tell me like she really hates her body. Like she's really mean about her
mhm,
body, like the way she talks about
mhm,
her body. And that breaks my heart, but I also can imagine that like if you're not comfortable in your body to touch yourself,
mhm,
in like with your fingers, it can feel so I imagine uncomfortable, like when you're
mhm.
in a place. So I think a toy might even be a better introduction. Like some people think toys are like the next step. I think toys can actually help because it's kind of like this safe barrier in a way before you're ready
Right.
to like touch yourself and accept that part of yourself. I don't know. That's just something that comes to
I
mind.
agree.
And
'Cause it's got intimate with yourself, and you could, like,
yeah,
I think it would be easier to start with a bullet or a vibrator or something, a suction cup dildo, IDK, but then
the rose.
move onwards. So, to the women listening, what do you think is a way that they could show up for their husbands, boyfriends, partners in a way so that they could be more receptive to their husbands? I'm always like, keep a poker face, but, like, what's something they could really do if something upsets them, hurts their feelings, or, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I think
Hard question.
what'd
That's
you
a
say?
hard question. So that's kind of a hard question, I guess.
No,
But
I think it's a great question. And I think I think it could be really easy in the moment to like tense up and have that reaction of like either getting really angry at him or really just dismissed and like deeply hurt. And I think that's why like the intro and reminding each other as you converse, like, hey, remember we're on the same team. Like, hey, like, I love you, but, so like changing the way you talk within the conversation will really help. But when you're feeling really like just hurt at the end, you can say something like, I love you, but I feel really hurt right now. I want to go think about this, collect my thoughts, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, sometimes that processing time or that time to like process what the conversation you just had can go in a totally different direction than your initial feeling. You could have
Yeah.
been angry at first, you sit with it, and sometimes it goes a completely opposite way. I've heard success stories. I don't want to tell all the men it's just going to go this way. And maybe we talked about this the last episode, but maybe this was with you. A man who shared he was into pegging. Was this you? And then the wife was horrified, sat with it. She was like, you know what? I love my husband. I don't know if I'm going to be into this. I'm kind of grossed out. I'm kind of icked out. She tried it. She's obsessed with it. And that was an ideal, doesn't always happen. So don't think that's always going to happen. But for them, it was like a great testimony to processing it, compromising. And then she found out she was super into it. So
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. And like going back to like the fantasy question and me saying like the 0 to 100, like when you can slowly introduce things and try things out and talk about it with each other as you're moving toward things that are maybe a bit more intense or a bit more intimate, like that's how you build connection and you build comfort with each other to the point where you can work your way up to like having different sexual experiences. Like, but you got to build the comfort zone of being able to talk about the sex you're currently having and then introduce something like, okay, like, my fantasy is anal. We don't have to go there yet, but like, what if you let me like rub
Like,
your
yeah,
asshole?
stimulated in some way.
And I won't
She
go
may
in, I'll
love
just rub.
it.
Oh my God, chances are
Yeah.
she will love it. Like, I don't think
Yes.
most women have had proper anal because most guys are just like, put it in.
I try to tell them all the time. I'm like, if you're going, I'm never doing that because you had that experience where he missed the right
Oh
hole
my God.
and
Happened to
accidentally
me.
hit your ass.
Happened to
I
me.
will never do it again. It's like there's a right way where you can have an orgasm, women, that is nothing like an orgasm you've ever had before. Doesn't have to be this painful, horrific, rope biting because I'm trying to get through an experience. That's not what it should be.
Yeah.
I think anal and missionary is the best position to be in as a woman because you can stimulate your clit or like you have pressure, like use the man's pelvis, stomach, whatever's right in front of your clit if he's missionary. So you have that to stimulate and then it's far less painful. I know you could be on top, but I really don't think doggy anal is the
I don't
best
like
beginner
doggy
anal
anal.
position.
Yeah, no, that's a bit more
Who does?
advanced.
I
And
was like,
even
who maybe
I
they
like
do.
being on my stomach, and then sticking my hand down there and like,
Yes. See, you
playing
got the
along.
friction. You just need some friction
Exactly.
there.
Because if you're not stimulating yourself while he's in there, it could be, that adds a lot of pain. Like,
Don't do it.
just don't do it. Don't do it.
Uber lube, you need Uber lube. I think silicone lube for the asshole is the best.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but water-based, whatever kind of lube you like, but lots of it because the asshole is not self-lubricating.
Yeah.
We can't be lube haters.
Being in a position that has you feeling lots of control over your own pleasure and clitoral stimulation. I think those are the top. And going really slow. Like he has to start with his finger and then put the head in and then slow.
You can be in control,
Yeah.
women.
Yeah. Women should really like slowly back onto it.
And like you don't even have to do like you don't have to put his whole dick in your butt you could literally have like a 1/4 inch wiggle room and it still work, so take it slow. Okay. Thank you,
I love how we just got
Stephanie.
into like details of anal, like out of nowhere.
Details just in case you
Just in
wanted some
case.
tangible take-home hints, tips. Okay, tell my men, women, anyone listening where they can find you, how you work with men, if men want to reach out to you, contact you, what do you do with men, how can they reach you, where can they find you, and I will put all of this in the episode notes as well.
Cool. You can go to stephanieganowski.com, my website, where you'll find contact information to reach out. If you want coaching, you can apply for coaching there. And then check out my podcast, What I Love About Sex.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
What I
I'm
love
gonna put
about
this on
sex.
there. Are you cool with that?
Okay. Yeah, duh. Of
Okay.
course. So I will put the link to that. You can listen Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you enjoy podcasts.
Yes.
And I'll put your social media as well because you have a great social media page. Very helpful videos.
Stephanie Ganowski. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
for coming on The
Jordan.
Horny Housewife. And
love
we'll see
it.
you around.
You're so fun. You're so great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, everyone. I hope you loved Stephanie Ganowski. She's fabulous. She's wonderful. If you want to find her and all the things, I put that in the episode notes below. Love you long time. Check out the Patreon. Go to my social media at THHpod. Write in a listener question on my website. And I will see you all next Monday.